Hi, I'm Rob Durham, and today I'm going to tell you how you can judge your crowd ahead of time so you can adjust your set list accordingly.
He tours clubs and colleges all over. He's just published his third book. Give a nice big round of applause for Rob Durham.
It is okay to stereotype a crowd. 99% of the time, they come out like you think. So, first thing to look at is age. What kind of age gap is there? I did a gig for it was a 50th class reunion a few months ago. Everyone there was over the age of 60s, some into their 70s. So I needed to drop a few things. There was a punchline I have that involves the word meme. Those people aren't going to know what that is, so I dropped that joke completely. Same thing, if it's a college crowd or people in their 20s, I'm not going to refer to older stuff. So think about in your set list which things aren't quite universal based on age and get rid of them. It's okay to drop something. It's better than the joke flopping completely and you losing the crowd. Another thing to consider is the location of your gig. Is it in a rural area where it's 100 white people in a room, or is it downtown where it's a diverse crowd that's going to be a little more PC? That'll dictate how edgy you want to be with your jokes. If your jokes aren't brilliant enough to pull off in front of anyone, you don't want to lose them because you rub people the wrong way. Sometimes you'll do a show for a crowd that has an overwhelming amount of one gender or the other. For example, I opened up for Fortune Feimster last year, and I walked out on stage and realized, 90% of the crowd is women. So in my head, I was able to adjust, and I don't want to make fun of my wife in really any joke. I'll make fun of myself more and use those instead. It's good to take that into account ahead of time. It could go either way. So, if the headliner is really popular with all men or all women, definitely think about that ahead of time. Another thing you can look at is, does the crowd consist of large groups of people, friends, or are they people on dates? If it's Valentine's weekend, you're going to get a lot of couples out there. This means you need to clean it up. They're going to feel a little more awkward laughing with their date versus if it's a large group of friends. I don't know why it's like that. It just is though. So take that into account for sure when you're deciding how blue you're going to be. Another thing to consider is how much interaction you want to do, crowd work you want to do during your set. If it's a smaller crowd and they're not drunk, you can get away with a little more crowd work, kind of bring up the energy level. If you've got a large room of drunk people, I would say keep your crowd work to a minimum unless you're a very experienced pro. Things can get out of control quickly, so let them know you're doing the show and not them. You got to be very careful with that. Obviously the drunken level of the crowd is a big deal as well with what you can get away with, what you can't get away with. So kind of see what kind of drinkers they are too. Beer drinkers and whiskey drinkers, not going to be as PC as wine drinkers. So if you're at a winery, you got to make the proper adjustments. Another thing I've noticed too, especially in the smaller, the one-nighter gigs, there's always one guy that sits up front, kind of sprawled out, that may not crack a smile the whole time. I just leave that guy alone. He's at a lot of gigs for some reason. He's there maybe against his own will. You don't know what kind of day he had, or a lot of people are afraid to sit up front, so don't punish the ones that actually do. That I think there's this reputation that sitting in the front row of a comedy club, you're just asking for it. And it's like, no, you just got there first. So I always say don't make fun of the people that are up front if they don't deserve it. If it's early in your career, you may not have a full toolbox of jokes to make these adjustments. So don't worry about that. Learn from your mistakes. If you're a more experienced comic with a lot more material, you have the benefit of being able to adjust and adapt on the fly. For more tips on how to make money and advance your comedy career, check out my book, Don't Wear Shorts on Stage, available on Amazon and Kindle. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.